we're gonna figure out once and for all why my SR sucks. In case you guys don't remember all the trouble that I've had with this car, basically where we left off with it, it has been consuming a significant amount of coolant, both on track and just driving it around town. I've pressure tested the system and it hasn't had any leaks. You can't really tell if it's like smoking or anything out of the exhaust because it's E85 and I would assume that water isn't as noticeable as coolant. The car feels good, so I don't think it's anything like compression related. The spark plugs look fine, so I have no idea what's going on with it, and I've resorted to taking it to the master mechanic himself, Alberto Big Boost.
Wait, what?
All right, so Alberto,
Fix what?
what do you think could possibly be the problem with it? Do you have any hunches?
It has an SR in it.
Okay, other than that, do you have any hypothesis?
The turbo's too small.
The turbo's too small?
Another one, I think you're losing coolant.
All right, but like, do you? All jokes aside, do you have any sort of idea what could what are we gonna be diagnosing?
Well, I'm gonna obviously start by pressurizing the system, take the spark plugs off, put like 30 psi into the system and see if we're getting any water into the cylinders, roll that out of the way. Also look for any leaks on any other hoses underneath the intake manifold or turbo lines, and the radiator and the coolant hoses on the front. If we're not getting any leaks from any of that, then I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, what I think, like my hypothesis with this is that I don't think it's the motor. I don't think there's any leaks. I think that one day when I ran the turbo with a leaky fitting on top of it, I think that the turbo got very hot because there's no coolant running through it, and maybe something internally cracked on the turbo and we're losing coolant that way. That's what I'm hoping, because changing the turbo out is an easy fix compared to rebuilding the SR again. We lifted the car up in the air because you wanted to look underneath the car and just make sure there's nothing stupid wrong, you know, like a line not hooked up or like maybe a radiator hose just dangling. There wasn't any. Surprise, surprise.
I did find something else.
Oh yeah, I lost the cap to my overflow like forever ago, and I thought I lost it on track somewhere. It was like tucked up against the firewall, just chilling there. He was like, "This does not belong here."
You're welcome.
Look, now I got a cap for my little girl. Here you go, baby. What we're doing now is essentially a radiator pressure test, which you guys have seen more than enough times. But Alberto wants to go a little bit crazy and crank it up to 30 psi and check the cylinders to see if water is getting in them while we crank it up. The thing is though, you have to be really careful because most of these hoses and clamps aren't really made to handle that much pressure. Your typical radiator cap is what, maybe 19 pounds if it's like a racing cap? Does that sound about right, Alberto?
No, 16.
16, but I think the Mission Model one's 19 because it's supposed to be like a higher pressure cap. Oh, it doesn't have the label on it. Take my word for it. Anyway,
1.1?
Something like that.
1.1 is like 15, 16 psi.
Either way, you just gotta be careful because the system isn't meant to take that much pressure, so like it could blow in your face. So careful. Now this is something I knew about and I told you guys about that could potentially be the issue with the whole system. Who knows? So I've never really tested it this way. I've only really like tried to cap it and blow into it with my mouth. But I got the idea to cap the reservoir with a little like vacuum plug, and then I put this thing in here so I could blow and test the closed loop system that should be the overflow hooked up to the radiator. And this guy right here, when I blow into it, was it leaking? Mm-hmm. Well, let me do it again. It leaks right there. So there is the possibility that instead of the system pulling back in coolant when it cools down, that it's pulling in air because there's less resistance to pull in air than there is to suck coolant through the system. Don't know if that's the only thing because it's losing quite a bit of coolant, but it's possible.
It's like having a broken straw.
Yeah. I had this massive list of stuff for Alberto, and he's been looking at with like literally every single thing. So I'll give you a rundown on the stuff that he's gone over so far. So I was like, all right, Alberto, my diff is leaking. I think I put the cover on wrong. Turns out we just overfilled the diff. So that was easy. There are a couple loose axle bolts on here, but that's normal. And then 5 out of 6. 5 out of 6. And then over in the front, I have this like gnarly clunk and I could not figure out where it was coming from. I tightened every arm and everything. He like gets one wrench and he's like, Adam, look, subframe was like hanging down this much. That's how loose it was.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
He just knows this car so well. Right now, he's about to put a little tack where my sway bar like arm meets the sway bar. I don't know if you can see on this side, but I've, for whatever reason, have been having an issue of these little like sway bar arms sliding off. They don't stay on for some reason, no matter how tight they are. So he's gonna put a little tack weld to keep them from sliding off, because that's not fun when that happens. Uh-oh, I haven't told you guys what the big thing is that we're doing today. You're about to find out. Is that the turbo? Are we removing the turbo, Alberto?
Yeah, I got tired of it.
You don't like not big enough boost for you? All right, in all fairness, just to put this out there, this turbo is capable of about 10 more pounds than we push out of it. My coil packs are the limiting factor. 30 years old, so that doesn't help. The plan is to actually convert the car to VQ coil packs, which basically just bolt right up and use the same connectors. I just have to delete the igniter, but there's no point in doing that until I can go for a retune. So, oh yeah, back to what's going on. This turbo is coming off. And what could I possibly be replacing it with? Well, we have Garrett's brand new G25 550 right here. And if you thought the GTX series was baller, and then when the GTX Gen 2 series came out, it was even more baller, this is as baller as it can possibly get right now in the world of turbos. Take the already crazy efficient GTX 2860 Gen 2 turbo that is on my car right now, and this is 20% more efficient. This baby turbo right here is rated at 550 horsepower, which is absolutely absurd for a turbo of this small frame. What's also really rad about the new G series, the housing is stainless, which is very cool, so it won't get rusted or anything like that. And it also uses the flanges that are most common for like manifolds and stuff, so you don't have to go hacking up other turbos and putting a flange on it like we did before. So I'm really excited. I have a really close relationship with Garrett, and they sent me the turbo for my 240 that I have on it right now. Even though I wanted this one really, really badly, this turbo was so in demand when it first came out that they didn't have the inventory to send me one, and promised me that they'd send me one down the road. And now, well, my excuse was kind of gonna be that I thought that my turbo was cracked or something, that's where all the coolant was going, but it turns out that wasn't the case. But we're still gonna get to swap to a rad new turbo. It's more power at less boost, right? In theory, if it's more efficient.
Yeah.
In theory, at the same boost level, a more efficient turbo should make more power because you're pushing it less and it's creating less heat. So it's like more in its efficiency range. Does that make sense, Alberto? Am I saying facts?
Yeah, it pushes more CFM than the other one.
More CFM, okay. That's what I was looking for. Not that my car needs more power or anything, but if we can make the same amount of power that we do now at less boost, in theory, more reliable. Alberto's in the background whining, less boost. No, but when we put new coil packs on this car, we should be able to crank it up to like 28 PSI and make like 500 wheel, which would be really cool. Like, there are very few people right now that have the new G25 on an SR, and I'd be really curious to see what kind of power it makes, because if we make 500 wheel on a turbo this small with crazy response, it will 100% convince a lot of people to go with this over like the traditional 2876 or 3071 or what a lot of SR guys tend to run. I'm always about small turbos, so if you can get crazy horsepower numbers and still have the response and spool of a smaller turbo, mind you, like the 2860 in my car right now is so rad. So like, I don't like switching to things when I have something that works and is dope, but this should be even more dope. I'm gonna use Alberto to help explain this. There's another feature that's cool about it. Alberto, step into frame. So the center section is connected to the back plate. I really didn't understand why that would make it more safe because I've never blown up a turbo in that way.
Well,
Explain.
like this, you can probably see that technology in like diesel turbos. So instead of having a center section that's metal and then having an aluminum backing plate, normally a lower boost turbo will have a regular cast backing plate. Then you'll see on the performance turbo will have a billet backing plate. Well, now Garrett has a unibody where the center section is one piece metal with the compressor backing plate. So now it's able to retain the wheel in case of any failure or whatever. Your impeller wheel will not come off, or the shaft will come out of place, so it's able to retain the components a lot better and have a lot stronger, what? I mean, it's supposed to be stronger than Adam blowing on it.
In addition to that, it also has a built-in speed sensor, which is right here, which we don't really have any use for, but I'd imagine if you're like crazy about data logging, that would be something that would be useful to you. Oh, it comes with the fittings too. They didn't used to, did they?
No.
Okay, look at that. In case you're curious the reason why this is much more efficient, they just have new aerodynamics for both the compressor and for the turbine. So I guess that's how they're able to make it more efficient. What I'm curious about though, and what you guys will probably care about way more, A, the power numbers, and B, how's it gonna sound? Is it gonna have the or is it gonna have the or is it gonna have the like, we don't know. We're gonna find out. Obviously, when we put the new turbo on, I'm not gonna really be able to rip too hard until the car gets properly tuned, but it should be similar enough to the current turbo on there where we'll be able to adjust the fuel pressure a little bit just to be able to cruise around in safe AFRs and hear what this thing sounds like and feel what it spools. This is when having a V-band setup is really, really convenient, because instead of having to worry about turbo gaskets and flanges, literally everything just unbolts nice and easily. Now it'd be really nice if this was just a bolt-on affair, but if you guys remember, since we had to modify the old turbo and add those different flanges on, there's a good chance that the actual length and like dimensions of the other turbo are gonna be slightly different, so we'll have to modify the downpipe and then obviously add this elbow back on. It's actually super, super close. Like, it sucks that we're gonna have to even modify the downpipe at all. It's so close. The V-band flanges, unfortunately, if it is just slightly off like that, it's not gonna wanna clamp right and you're gonna have an exhaust leak, which is no fun. So here we've got a side-by-side comparison with the Gen 2 2860 to the G25 550. You might notice the AR on this compressor housing is actually a little bit bigger. This is a 0.7, this is a 0.6. You can tell the wheel's a bit bigger. Like, this area just looks like a little more, like it's got a little more girth in this area. I don't know, I'm stoked. I didn't even notice how much easier the new one is to take apart too. This one's the traditional bolt style. This one actually connects to the compressor side with a V-band. That's super easy. Alberto's very stoked about that.
One bolt instead of 6.
Yeah. Well, these are such a pain to get a wrench into sometimes when it's like tight in there. This new turbo is just so baller. It's just a baller turbo. Thanks, Garrett, for sending me a baller turbo. So something I've been thinking about, but I kind of want you guys' input on it, as I almost fall on my face. You guys remember me talking about moving to a new warehouse? Well, it's seeming like it's definitely going to be happening. And I have so many old parts, stuff like wheels and big stuff, but I have a lot of smaller stuff that I could potentially sell on eBay. So I was thinking about putting a lot of stuff up there. I have old parts, stuff as cheap as like old electric fans that are like obviously still good. I have old turbos, manifolds, SR parts, JZ parts, parts from the BMW. I have so many old parts and stuff. So I was thinking about throwing everything up on eBay along with some other like cool old broken stuff that maybe you guys might want to make something out of. Like, I have a box of broken RB pistons. If that's something that you guys would be interested in, I'd consider doing it, just throwing everything on there with like no minimum and just kind of letting it go and hoping that it'll fund a little bit towards the RB build. But more or less just as a way to gain some space at the warehouse. I wanted to do an open house and just like sell everything in person, but I realized that a lot of people on Twitter were like, oh no, put them up somewhere, because that, like, not everyone can come to Orlando. So just an idea, but I'm curious what you guys think about it. I don't know how I feel about eBay and like having people bid on old stuff. Like, I don't know, but. So something I've been thinking about, but I kind of want you guys' input on it, as I almost fall on my face. You guys remember me talking about moving to a new warehouse? Well, it's seeming like it's definitely going to be happening. And I have so many old parts, stuff like wheels and big stuff, but I have a lot of smaller stuff that I could potentially sell on eBay. So I was thinking about putting a lot of stuff up there. I have old parts, stuff as cheap as like old electric fans that are like obviously still good. I have old turbos, manifolds, SR parts, JZ parts, parts from the BMW. I have so many old parts and stuff. So I was thinking about throwing everything up on eBay along with some other like cool old broken stuff that maybe you guys might want to make something out of. Like, I have a box of broken RB pistons. If that's something that you guys would be interested in, I'd consider doing it, just throwing everything on there with like no minimum and just kind of letting it go and hoping that it'll fund a little bit towards the RB build. But more or less just as a way to gain some space at the warehouse. I wanted to do an open house and just like sell everything in person, but I realized that a lot of people on Twitter were like, oh no, put them up somewhere, because that, like, not everyone can come to Orlando. So just an idea, but I'm curious what you guys think about it. I don't know how I feel about eBay and like having people bid on old stuff. Like, I don't know, but at the end of the day, I just want to do whatever you guys are into. So just an idea, something I've been thinking of to try to clear up some space. We're gonna try to get it fired up tonight. However, rather than hacking up the old turbo, we decided that it would be better to leave this as one complete unit in case we ever need to swap it out again or use it as a spare. So we're gonna try and get another 2" 90 tomorrow. That way he can weld a nice new one on here rather than using this old stuff. So hopefully we can get that figured out. get that in the morning, and then get this car finished so we can start working on the R32 again, because we got parts and stuff to do now. Alberto, what do you think that turbo is going to sound like?
Should sound about the same, except it has one more blade on the compressor wheel, so I don't know if that will change the sound or not.
That was a really good explanation, but like I was more looking for you to make a turbo noise with your mouth.
I need some big boost chicken.
When he said